Now imagine this. A pet dog is left for dead after being tortured by its owner. Is there any way to punish the abuser? Is there a way to pursue justice for the animal? Sadly, the answer is no in most countries because animals generally do not have meaningful legal rights. They are deprived of these rights because by and large most laws consider animals to be property, objects. Not very different from a table or a chair. They can be bought and sold, they can be bred and killed. South Korea wants to change this. It plans to amend its civil code to grant animals legal status, to consider them living beings instead of legal things. And this is happening after the country reported 914 cases of animal abuse in 2019. Many of these abusers were punished under the country's animal protection law. But there were no significant penalties because animals are still treated as objects under the current legal system. So in September this year, South Korea's parliamentarians will pass an amendment to grant animals the right to protection and respect for their lives. This is being done in order to grant courts more options when determining sentences to animal abusers. The amendment will also pave the way to grant life insurance packages for animals and to make it obligatory to rescue and report roadkill.
Once the Civil Act declares animals that used to be defined as property are not objects, the fundamental evaluation and perception will change in the legal world. When attempts are made to injure or kill an animal, the declaration will be reflected when the judges determine the punishment and the prosecutors demand sentences.
검사들이 구체적으로 또 구형량을 정할 때 반영이 될 겁니다.
South Korea has a population of 52 million people, out of which 10 million are pet owners. Most of them are said to be in favor of this decision. In fact, they want the legislation to be approved at the earliest so that people will think twice before hurting animals.
Animals are not objects. Certainly, they are not objects. But there are people who can't control their anger and take it out on the dogs. His owner lost his temper and told his kids to bury him alive. He was barely alive when we rescued him after it was reported. But the man wasn't punished as the dog was recognized as an object owned by him.
I hope the legislation will be strengthened so that illegal breeders and companies that sell dogs illegally will also be alarmed, and people who are raising animals will have more awareness.
Will South Korea be the first country to adopt such a law? The answer is no. In 2015, the French Parliament amended the French Civil Code to change the classification of non-human animals from movable property to living beings gifted sentience, the ability of experiencing things. In Bolivia too, the law states that animals have the right to be recognized as living beings. They call it the law of Mother Earth. But the question is, where does one draw the line? On which animals do welfare laws apply and on which do they not? How are we going to address large-scale industrial breeding of animals to be consumed as meat? And most importantly, why is it that images of caged puppies trigger outrage, but the mass slaughter of other animals does not? These are tricky questions, difficult questions. A simple answer is emotional prejudice. Some say they care more about some animals because of their superior social intelligence or the fact that they simply spend more time with them. But how does that justify killing the others? These are inconsistencies, perhaps even hypocrisies, which animal rights activists must address every time they push for a law to protect certain animals. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.